Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the 13th or 14th episode of the PRIMLLIFE podcast. I have no clue anymore, and I can't keep track. I have my friend Vida on today. Absolutely crazy story and an amazing athlete. 10 times better than I could even be. I'm putting up weights that grown 300-pound men can't even comprehend doing. So I'm gonna ask her a few questions, kind of figure out like the motivation, like why she lives the way she does, and how she became such an amazing athlete and got into the military. So I'll let you start off and kind of tell your story.
Yeah, my name's Vida, and I am from El Paso, Texas originally, but I grew up in a military family. So I lived in Alaska, Colorado. My first move ever was when I was 8, and it was actually to Janesville, Wisconsin. So it was like living in Texas for so long and then just randomly moving when my mom met my stepdad. So that was like my first big change in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Crazy.
yeah, so it was good. I liked Janesville. It was a really good city. I think I would live there. Like if I had another place to move, that would be a good area because it's like a big city,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not too big.
Yeah, you have like the perfect mix between
Yeah.
being massive and like just kind of like too many places to be and like tiny where there's like nothing to do.
Yeah, because where I'm from, it's huge. El Paso's like millions of people, and
Yeah.
I haven't been in that kind of area in a while. So I think for me, I need that like good medium to live in.
Yeah. Was the weather change massive for you? Going
It
from
was.
like yeah.
I had never seen grass for when
Really?
yeah, it's like all dirt. And I remember like going there and I was like, wow, this is all the trees having leaves on it, and like the snow was the biggest thing. I remember I think it was our first year there, like we had like it seemed like 15 inches of snow. I remember that
And
night.
as a child it's even bigger.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
all of us were shoveling, me, my little brother. My dad had the snow blower and we were like, what? And we still had to go to school the next day, I think, or like they were
That's
planning,
funny.
like they hadn't canceled yet. And we were like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like one snowflake falls and they cancel everything in Texas. Or
Hmm.
they think it's coming and they'll cancel everything.
Our school districts in Janesville wait as long as they can, and sometimes they just like if they've canceled like in their opinion like too many times like earlier in like the in the winter, they just ignore it and they make you come to school with like 3 feet of
Yeah,
snow.
I remember. I was like, this
But
is crazy.
yeah, it's a good place to be at. Were you expected to kind of go into the military like early on?
So yeah, I've like that's the one thing I had always like I knew I was gonna do that because
Crazy.
my stepdad, I consider him my dad, but like seeing him in and like traveling and seeing like other military, like I knew that was what I wanted to do for sure.
Yeah.
Like even in
Did you know what?
school.
Yeah. Did you know like what part of the military you wanted to go in like immediately, or did you kind of figure that along the way?
Yeah, I kind of figured that along the way. For me, it was in between the Marines and Army. Those were the two
Okay.
choices. So I was talking to both recruiters, and obviously my dad helped weigh in. And I obviously eventually chose the Army, which I wouldn't change it for anything. If I
Hmm.
could go back, I would do the same thing.
Yeah. What kind of made the decision for you between the Marines and the Army? Like, what was the big deciding
Um,
factor?
so I don't know, like things change, but like at that time, no matter what my score was on the ASVAB, they pick your job for you no matter what. Like, so I was like, oh, I'd rather at least pick my poison, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, I'd rather choose what I want to do and then from there change it if I didn't like it. And then
Yeah.
just, and then I
Oh,
had
totally.
Airborne in my contract. So when I talked to the recruiter, I was like, that's really cool. Like, you can't,
Yeah.
it's harder to get that, I think, in the Marines.
Okay. What was Airborne School like?
It was a really good school. It was 3 weeks long, 3 weeks of just falling, learning how to
Yeah.
fall. A lot of running, just a short time of intensity. And
Okay.
then, so you learn to fall for 2 weeks. You start off like little baby steps on the first week, and you go a little higher the second week, and then the third week is when you just jump out the airplane.
What was it like jumping out for the first time?
It was a big adrenaline rush, and it happened
Oh, I
so
bet.
quick you couldn't even like think about it. You just were
Yeah.
on the plane, you hook up, and that's when it hit me when I hooked up my static line that hooks up to the
Yeah.
parachute. I was like, wow, I'm about to jump out. And then everyone just
Mm.
starts moving, and you just go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was.
Would you would you change anything about like early on in the army, like which you became a mechanic if I'm right?
I was a mechanic, yes.
Would there be any other career path that you kind of change if you had like a choice to go back and redo it?
Yeah, I wanted to be a MP, a military police.
Hmm.
So that was my. It wasn't available at the time when I was choosing. I probably should have waited like a little longer for it to open up, but I knew that I could change it. Like I could always reclass if I had wanted to. So that was one of the things.
Oh, overall, what did your career in the army look like? Like over the 3 years that you were in it, how did that all kind of go? Like where were you put at, and like did you, what parts were like favorable, and what parts did you like not like as much?
Training was actually really fun. Like looking back at it, basic was actually like it was like a great time. Like everyone was. It was so motivational to have everyone like we're all going through the same thing. We're all trying to push to get through it, helping each other out. You just get that camaraderie that like just starts to form into, and you see it like I saw it all through my military career. And then AIT, I had a lot of fun. Like it was kind of like college, but for us, you know? So, but we're all like doing the same thing, getting in trouble with this. If one of us gets in trouble, we're all in trouble. Then after AIT, I went to Airborne School, did that. And it's kind of cool because I was like fresh in the military, but then you go to Airborne School and you have like people who have been in for 5 years, 10 years, like you have all sorts of ranks with you, and it's a little different, but you kind of see how like the Army's gonna be, because you're gonna be all with all different ranks, leaderships. We had different branches in there too, like Air Force, Marine, Navy.
Oh, cool.
We were all together. And then my first duty station was in Germany, which it was fun. I was with the 173rd with 191 Cav, and I had great, like, I was like, there was a lot of males in there. There was only like 3 females, if anything. Like,
out of how many total people?
I can't remember how big our squadron was, but we had, in my troop, we only had 2 females, and that was including me.
Oh wow. And
there was a couple others in the other troops, like the medics, stuff like that. But like even with like having like, it was like having a bunch of big brothers. They all looked out for me. Like all the guys that I hung out with, they all looked out for me. Like they're a really good group of guys.
That's awesome. I've heard the military, it is pretty much just a huge family, and you go really close to the people you're with.
It's different because especially like coming out of the military, I see a big difference from like working with them and then working in my civilian job now. Like it's just so different. Just because we go
a little bit closer in the military.
Yeah. Because like we can't leave work until we get all this stuff done. So we all better work together and just get it done the right way the first time. And then we all get to go home.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about boot camp being like a really amazing experience. Would you say that like you were the most focused during boot camp than you had been at any other point in your life?
Yeah, I would say that.
Crazy.
For sure. Just because you're just in that situation, you're gonna have to push through it. Like it's gonna have to happen. You have stuff you have to do. You have to pass stuff, especially like the physical part. I was like, I did CrossFit a little bit before, so I had that a little. I wasn't like great, but I had that background in fitness, so I helped a lot of people in basic get to where they wanted to be, which was really nice for me just because I like that. And I'm very competitive, so I always needed that like the highest score type thing. So it was fun. I would.
Out of curiosity, when you went in, you used, as you said, you did have a pretty decent athletic background for CrossFit and stuff like that. How easy and how far did your training place you above the other people, like the other recruits?
It really, so like I knew I was always trying to like kind of like lay low in basic, but that kind of like zeroed in on me a little bit because like our first PT test, like it's like a half PT test, so we only do a minute of each exercise. But I was able to get like 57 push-ups in a minute.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when my drills were like, okay, who are you? Like, type thing. And then they would the running, I was able to be in A group, which is like usually more like the males. And one of my drills, I looked up to her a lot because she was like aerosol and like stuff like that. And she really pushed me. She was hard on me, but she I knew she did it because she wanted me to really excel.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting an award at the end of basics. I had the highest PT score in the battalion.
I figured as
much. Because it goes off of a 300 score. And in basic, they do like the extended scale. So if you do extra, you get extra points. And I had a 336.
Crazy.
And they were like, yeah. And especially being a female, they were like, it's a little different.
Yeah. Did you have that new PT test? I know they switched it up recently. I don't know exactly when. Did you have the one? I know there's a lot of carries. It's like the
ACFT.
That sounds right. Yes.
Yes.
Did you have to do that one?
No, it hasn't, I don't think it's taken place yet. Like it hasn't taken into effect. I think it was supposed to happen this month, but with, COVID and everything, the equipment use, I think they're pushing it back a little bit. I really wanted to do that. When I saw that came out, I was like, I'm ready for that. Because it's all CrossFit based.
Yeah. No, it'd be really crazy to see how much you would smoke all the other like people who would try it.
I want to try it.
It'd be a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah. At my
it's
gym,
all functional stuff too.
Yeah, it is. The deadlift, the sprint dry carry, the pull, the leg tuck. At my gym, we're really close to a base at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin. So
I've been there a few times. It's great.
Yeah, so we've been, we're trying to promote that we're gonna help, that we can help you excel in the ACFT. So that's what I like to do. Since I can't be in, I rather help soldiers be able to excel in their score.
That's really cool. What did your athletic background look like before the military?
I never had that specific sport that like kids grow up playing always basketball or they're always playing soccer. I didn't have that in Texas. It was a little different where I'm from. Like they didn't really have sports like that for us. So I just kind of did whatever sport was open. Track, soccer. My first sport, I actually played football.
Interesting.
I had always said I wanted to play football. I told my mom, my dad, and they're like, okay. But when it finally came to that time, I'm like, no, I really want to play. I was the only girl on the team. And
that's awesome.
I was a running back, and it was fun. I think that helped me kind of like be a little more tougher too. Because guys didn't care if they hit me or not, So I had to get up and act like nothing,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great. And then why did you get into CrossFit specifically compared to other forms of lifting?
Oh, yeah. So that happened. So I graduated high school, and then not having that sport to go to every day, every afternoon was kind of hard for me because that's the only reason I really liked school, because of the sports. So I think I was kind of maybe getting a little lazy. So my dad drugged me to a CrossFit gym in Sparta. And I was interested in it because I did powerlifting. So I was like, oh, I could lift a lot of weight, But that first class really humbled me.
It's crazy.
I felt so sick. I almost threw up. But I was like, I need to go back, because it just it was that little. It's like, oh, I really like this, and I saw everyone suffering and seeing what they could do, and I was like, I think I could do that if I really work at it.
Did you throw yourself immediately into the process of getting better at it, or was it kind of a gradual thing?
So it was pretty much all in. So I did it for a good few months, and then I shipped off to basic. So I had a little taste of it before, and I loved it. It was kind of hard to go into training, because once I joined, I couldn't do that really as much. My unit was really busy, so it wasn't it was just different. I did some stuff, but more of the commercial gym type lifting. I didn't really do that stuff.
Awesome. And then later on in the military, I assume that you said earlier that you loved it. It was a blast the whole time. What made you decide, or what kind of I'm trying to find the words. What attributed to you leaving the military?
So that was like, it was unplanned for me.
Yeah.
So in Airborne School, we had a run, and I wasn't used to the humidity, or I don't know what happened that day. So we were running, and I like, when they say your mind gives up before your body type thing. Well, I saw the end line, like I saw the finish line, but my body gave out before my mind. Like my legs stopped. I had a heat stroke. So I was in the hospital for a while, but then I went back to Airborne School and I was able to complete it. And then went to my unit, did everything. And then it kind of caught up to me a little bit because I would get really hot really quick. Like it felt like it was going to happen again. Like even in this, like we would be running outside in the winter and I would get like just way too hot. So when I went to the doctor about it, they saw in my records that I had a heat stroke and it was like really bad. And that they don't even know how I was able to like get back in the Airborne School. They're surprised that they let me back in because I had some kidney failure with it. Like,
oh, that's crazy.
So
like something really serious.
Yeah, I thought I always think I'm okay, but so then they put in for a med board. So all of 2018 the end of 2018, I was trying to fight it to stay in because I felt like I was fine. So because I was like, if I'm able to do it now, I think I'm okay. But I even had like a lawyer. I flew out of Germany to go to DC to fight the case. Like I was like, no, I need to stay in because that's what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So to have that like taken was like, I'm not gonna let it be easy, like
exactly. Yeah. That's absolutely crazy. Do you think at what point would you be able to rejoin the military if you wanted to?
I've talked to her, like, so that was like a big thing. Like I was in so much denial that I wasn't going to get out. Like I didn't really plan for my civilian stuff. So, cause I was like, even like the last week of me being in Germany, I was like, no, it's going to change. Like this can't happen. So I talked to recruiters as soon as I came back, even though they said like maybe 3 years after.
Yeah.
And even then,
I heard they make you wait quite a long time.
They're like, even then we don't know. It just depends on, like, even if doctors clear it and stuff, it's still like a big process. So like when I came back, I was like, I started going to the gym, the same CrossFit gym that I started out in, and but I was still kind of, it really set me back so much that I was only going like maybe twice a week to the gym and then not really doing what I'm doing now. And I knew, and one day, like, I like looked back at my old self, like, that wasn't me to like be like this. So something just clicked because I saw myself as a failure, So I was like, I'm not, what's the word? Like, I'm only going to let it be a failure if I stop doing anything rather than like me just getting up and doing something that I want to do.
Yeah. When you were during like the whole process of being forced out of the military, where were you at mentally?
It was hard. It's still kind of hard sometimes. Just because like in the military, you have that purpose that you're part of something way bigger than you.
Yeah.
So like coming back here, I'm like, I really don't know like what I'm a part of or what I'm doing to help like make a bigger impact on stuff. So once I started getting my head out of the gutter, like just trying to like unbury myself from that, CrossFit for me, like why I'm so addicted to it now is because like there's still like that camaraderie inside the gyms because we all like, we see each other every day. We want to help each other excel. We compete together, have that friendly competition. We show up every day, do the workouts, and then we say, okay, we'll see you tomorrow type thing, It's a little different because I only see them for that like hour, 2 hours rather than like you're working, living together type thing. But for me, that
it gives you a little Gives
something
you
to
that
look forward
piece of
to.
what the military was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Crazy.
that's why I'm so addicted to it, and it's something for me to look forward to every day after work, or before work. So
It's absolutely crazy they had to go through that. I've heard before that like being kicked out of the military for like medical reasons is almost like comparable to like a postpartum that like a mother has after like they give birth. Like you feel like you just lose everything.
It was for me just because that's all like that was my only plan.
Yeah.
It was like that or being like, I loved being an athlete, but I knew like the military was more, feasible. Like it was like a career that I could really like, go through.
And you knew you'd be successful in it too.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
So that was
awesome.
That was like my biggest setback, but that's also my fuel to like really push myself every day and like kind of prove to like not others, but like at least myself that I am fit enough to do what I want to do. Because technically I'm not like fit enough to be in the Army, which kind of like that hurts a little.
Yeah. Are you saying that you aren't fit enough because of like the injury stuff?
The heat stroke, yeah. So because of that, I can't deploy because it's so hot, in like Afghanistan and Iraq. So they're saying like it could happen quicker if I were to like go down range and have that heat happen. Then I would be someone, like, what's the word? Like if I'm down there and something happens, they have to like take care of me. Or be like
it becomes a liability.
Yes, a liability.
Oh, that's not so terrible.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do you ever see yourself competing in the CrossFit Games as a future? Because you talk about, I honestly like seeing your Instagram stuff. You look more impressive, the stuff that you can do, than a lot of those athletes who are in the games. Do you ever see yourself pushing it to the next level and like striving to be at that level?
I want like that's one of my dreams, like to be, even if it started like, I know it's going to take a few years because I have so much to work on, but like I want to make it like the little steps, like do well at my local comps, hopefully do well at a qualifier, get, do one of like the Granite Games, Wadapalooza, like, start stepping it up a little bit. But I want to push it as far as I could go. That's the plan.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you competed in any competitions yet so far?
Yeah, before COVID, I had maybe about 4 competitions. Most of them have been team competitions because I mostly have teams around here. I did 2 individual in January and February. One was in Green Bay and one was in Eau Claire. Mm-hmm. So, and the one in February was actually my first like RX competition. Individual, so that was like, it was a good taste of what I needed.
What are your strengths, or what during the competitions? What did you find out was like what you need to work on, and then what did you find out was like, oh, I'm really good at this?
So my gymnastics needs work, like just efficiency on that. I'm really good at bar cycling, light movements, like, or even heavy, like snatching. Like if we had a lot of snatches, I could do that really fast. I could lift a lot of heavy weight really quick. My cardio is like, it needs a little work. Like I could withstand like 3 rounds is good, but anything after that, like, because I always go really hot out the gate way too quick.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to pace also, like look at a workout and say, okay, just stay steady. Don't get too excited. Just kind of move through it instead of going really fast, going really up ahead of everybody and then like slowly dying.
Have you had to do any of the swimming competitions yet?
No, I have not. Well, so I had one in, when was it, June or July? So Spartan Brawl in Sparta. Mm-hmm. And that was my first time doing a WOD in the pool. Okay. So that one, I have to work, that's one thing I have to probably work on too.
Did your skills transfer over that well, or was it kind of like a, you sink more than you float type of deal?
Towards the end, I was sinking more than I floated.
It's a crazy thing to do. Swimming is it's a full body workout, and
it is.
It becomes a fight just to keep on moving towards like when you're getting close to failure.
And growing up, we didn't really swim too much, so that's also something that I probably need to, like, I never really had swimming lessons. Like it was just kind of like hope for the best type thing.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I need to work on also.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy seeing where you are 10 years in the future because you have the experience from competing. You obviously have the motivation and an amazing framework to work on your skills. Um, it's going to be absolutely crazy watching you compete later on in the future.
Thanks.
Like the level of efficiency and strength that you have right now. After you have time to work on a little bit more, you're definitely going to win something.
Thanks.
Yeah, of
And it
course.
helps so I recently changed training, like gyms where I train. So I think that helped a lot too because it's more of a competitive environment.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one I was at before, like it was just like I was like above average at that gym. So I felt like I wasn't really like pushing myself. Like I was kind of staying at a same place. Like I was kind of like the big fish, but in a little pond, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when I went to competitions, it kind of like when everyone's at that same level, doing the same thing as you, like we're all doing the RX standards. So I think,
humbling.
yeah, really humbling. So being able to like go to a gym and like, I'm like, right, we're all right there and seeing other seeing other people where I've seen them go to those really big competitions, but to be able to be with them and train alongside them is like, it's been amazing. I've been there for 3 months, and in those 3 months, like those are the lifts you probably have recently been seeing, like they've been jumping up and my cardio is getting a lot better. I'm learning a lot for efficiency for my gymnastics. So now I'm starting to see that goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Competition is definitely one of those things that is needed if you are going to be your best person. It's really easy to like think that you're training hard for like a long period of time, and you probably are, but then you work with somebody who's that step higher than you, and you can see, and then it shows you how much farther you can push yourself and still be fine. Like you thought you were going 100%, when in reality it might have been like 95% or 90%, and that extra 10% truly matters when you're trying to be elite and be the best you can be.
It's great. I love it. Like I'm exhausted by the end of the training session, but like I know that I truly push myself for that that day, and I know what I need to work on to be better the next time we do it, instead of doing it at a competition when you learn the hard way of not being able to do a movement and lifting a weight that you're not too sure about, and which happened to me that comp in Green Bay. We had a clean event. So it was like, they had like a lot of weight, like 5 weights, and it was just like cycling through them. And I didn't think I was going to make it past like the second round, but I did. And then the last weight was like 175. I wanted to clean it like once and I couldn't. I knew that. I knew it was going to be like, especially being that tired. It was like the second day of the competition. And then I don't know if you saw that post, but like, it was embarrassing for me at that time, just because like I couldn't lift it. I kept dropping it. It was like a lot of pressure because I was the last one to do it, and everyone's just looking at me. And then last week we had a mashup, and we had like a 40-minute workout before that, just straight cardio. But then we had like a clean, like a build up, and I was able to clean like 185 3 times, power it.
Crazy. And like that's a lot of weight.
And thinking about that all that time ago, like that wouldn't even have been like imaginable to me.
Yeah.
To even.
And now you're repping out.
Yeah.
What is more than was more than a weight that you failed for reps, which really does show you how much you improved.
Yeah, and I love seeing that stuff, especially like, because that's why I do competitions. Like I'm never fully ready for a competition. Like I know a lot of people say they want to wait till they're fit enough or ready for a comp, but like I never feel ready for a competition. Like there's always something that's gonna show me like, oh, now I know that I need to work on that. Or
you always feel like you're not going to bring your complete package to the table. Like when that date is coming up, you know that if you had like a month longer, you could improve it so much, and it's kind of stressful too, because you want to compete, but you also know that you could do so much better given the time. Yeah. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
And then you'll learn stuff like, like you'll think you're like, total bars for me are pretty, I don't know, I get like they win me out pretty quick. So doing them in competitions pushes me to that point, and then like I know that I need to do more of them, and like be under pressure with them too. So like when competitions come, I'm not like just staring at the bar and just waiting for it to be better.
Do you ever see yourself going back to powerlifting?
Probably not. Maybe if they had like a local comp, maybe I would do it.
Just for fun, nothing.
Yeah, but I don't think I would put my full focus on that. Just because I like being able to have that cardio. That I'm still able to lift decently heavy for like my cardio. Yeah. So I just like to have the whole package. That's why I love CrossFit too, because you're doing gymnastics, weightlifting, cardio, all in one.
Exactly. And it's a really great style of training because powerlifting, you'll get benefits from powerlifting. You'll be big, you'll have strength. You don't get the flexibility, the gymnastics, the cardio benefits, just the overall health that CrossFit really can offer. And over time, like focusing so much on one thing, you'll lose everything else. Yeah. And then you won't be able to like train as long or be close to what you could have been if you focused on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's what I love, especially like with like the hopper effect, like the distance runner is going to win the, like the race event, the powerlifter is going to probably win the weightlifting event, but the CrossFitter is going to be decent at pretty much everything. So I just like to have that, I guess, that wide variety of physical, just fit overall.
Exactly. And it's more fun too because you don't just lift heavy weights all day. You lift heavy weights, you run to the heavy weights, lift the heavy weights. Yeah.
Yep.
You run with heavy weights.
Yep. I love it.
Awesome. Yeah. It's a ton of fun to watch too. It's honestly, it's so humbling because you see athletes who are good at everything, who are better than what you focus on 100%. Like for me specifically, like I'm more of a bodybuilder, / powerlifter. I focus 100% on that. And you see these CrossFit athletes doing my one rep max plus 80 pounds for reps and then swimming 3 miles. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. And it's fun too. So
it's fun to do. Awesome. It's definitely my main focus right now.
Yeah. How did you get into First Form?
It's recent. So I've been using their products when quarantine happened. That's when I saw like an ad for them and I was like, because I never took protein. I was just work out. I never took anything like that, creatine. And I started off with their protein at Ignition as like a post workout. I was like, that's something I could use every day at least. And then I never took whey protein because like I never liked the taste of any of it.
Yeah.
And this was the first protein that I actually bought like multiple tubs because the taste is amazing. And then I applied to be like a sponsored athlete at that time too. So I was like, I better use their products, just in case. And even though I knew it was kind of like a far fetched thing that was probably going to happen. But in August, they reached out to me to be a Legionnaire for them.
That's awesome.
So like, they're like, hey, if you're a Legionnaire, it helps you, in the long run, if I work myself up to be a sponsored athlete, that could more just get my foot in the door type thing.
Exactly.
I love the company. They're great. We have like weekly calls. I have training I got to do to learn about all the supplements. It's great because they want us to like, I'm an independent sales rep, but they really want the main focus is to help people find out what they need specifically because everyone's different, they have products that everyone could take, like the greens and reds, like that's for everybody. Then they have I take creatine because I'm like, doing that strength training and stuff like that.
It does help a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they have like multivitamin packs that everyone could take, like my mom, everyone, my grandma. Just have like a wide variety of stuff.
It's a very communal brand, I noticed.
It is.
So similar to how you were talking about like the military being a family and then CrossFit being a family, it truly does seem like it's a brand for the people versus like the executives of the company.
Yes, it really is.
Which is a cool thing to see.
That's something else that like recently happened that kind of sparked my motivation up again. Because it gets being part of something bigger than myself to help people. And like truly like talk to them like, you know, give them my number, text me if they have like an issue or like what their goals are.
Yeah.
And go from there to see what products would work for them. And I just love it.
It's one of the coolest things seeing people grow, either in the gym or in their life. It's just awesome seeing somebody be able to like take a piece of what you learned and then apply it to their own life and then become their best self and kind of grow over time. It certainly is really fun and awesome to see that.
Yeah, because it's something
Awesome.
I want to do like eventually, like probably go to like, you know, be a personal trainer in the long run. Go to school for that and just have all this knowledge, because I was thinking about doing like law enforcement when I came back, which is still sometimes
You'd be crazy at that. The criminals would say no chance.
Table. It's still on the table. Like I'm still trying to weigh my options still. I'm trying to really figure out like, but I love being able to like coaching, because I'm a CrossFit level 1 coach also. So
yeah,
being able to do that, I really love to see people like reach their, like get a movement they haven't gotten in a while, or like give them progressions to like, it makes me happy when they reach their goals. And
yeah, that's awesome.
I love that.
What are your goals in 10 years from now? What do you want to have achieved by then?
Whew.
I know that's a big one.
Yeah.
You can focus on the small stuff if you want, and I know that you have like a lot of different options given to you, but like if everything goes right, what would one of your top choices be?
I guess I just want to be like, in a perfect world, I would be like a really good athlete and like being able to compete at that level and just be comfortable with life, you know, like doing a job that I really want to do, like that I feel like I have a purpose for, but being able to pay all my bills with that too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like just
Hey. And it's hard, and I really did put you on the spot right there, because you have the military, you have being a police member, you have being a CrossFit athlete, you have being a first form coach. You know, there's so many routes that are open to you that you know that you could succeed in, that it is really hard right now to see where you'll go in that direction.
Yeah, because even thinking I'm like 10 years from now, I'll be 33. So I'm like thinking about that is like, I hope to like have a little bit of that before then. But the main thing is like having like that purpose again with like, you know, with my job, and being able to like pay the bills with that, like being happy to go to work, knowing that I'm making a difference in that job, and just helping people, and then being able to do my training also. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I think those are some pretty solid goals too, and happy ones as well too. It's not like a material thing. It's just like it's a self-fulfillment and actualization thing where like you're helping other people, you're happy, you're enjoying life, you're able to survive and get by. So that's awesome. I have a lot of respect for that. When you were working towards improvement, whether it's physical or mental, who motivated you along that way?
I feel like there's always like a lot of people. So like you always see like those like on Instagram you see all the athletes, like, you know, that's motivating too, but like when you see people like in your own life doing it, my mom's always been like the biggest motivation for me, always. Just growing up, she was, you know, single mom. She had me and my little brother. We're about 2 years apart. I'm the oldest, and just seeing her like looking back at it now, seeing how much she did, and like we didn't even notice, like, you know, we were little, we didn't notice it, but like looking back, seeing how much she did for us, like how strong she is, you know, it makes me like think like, you know what, like anything's possible if you really like, if you just do it. Sometimes that's the only place you have, you know. So
that's awesome. My mom's definitely a big motivation in my life too. Moms are great.
They are. And even like no matter what, she's always there for me to excel. Yeah. Like I'm like, even just being an athlete, like she's always supporting me. She's like, whatever, you know, I'm there. And even though it's not the norm, I've never been one to be like the norm, taking the normal path, like the college path and doing like that kind of stuff. So, but she's she's awesome.
That's great. That's such a great answer too. So I really appreciate that. And then going a little bit off of that too, if you had one piece of information that you wanted to give to somebody who's struggling to get into fitness, has the drive, has the want to, but just has no clue where to start, what would it be?
I would say just show up every day. If that's fine, like,
yeah,
find that person that wants to do it also. Even though you're not always going to have that person, like, don't always rely on someone to go. Because if you rely on someone and they don't go that day and you don't go, it starts to become a habit. So, like, if you have at least, like, a class to go to, that would probably be the best bet. Like, class starts at 5 o'clock, so I have to be there at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, a concrete deadline versus,
yeah.
Oh, I'll go when I feel like I'm ready.
Or, or that person to rely on. I never liked relying on anybody. I just had to, even though, like, it scared me, to just go by yourself and just go and do it, and it'll become a good habit in the long run. And then you just know that you just need yourself, and then people will come. They'll gravitate towards it. And then
that's awesome.
That's what happens to me pretty much. I've never really had, like, especially going into my new gym, coming back from the military, I had friends from high school, but, like, I never really, coming back, I didn't have that connection with them. And recently, I was talking to my dad about it, and it's like, I thought they had changed over the years, but he's like, no, like, they stayed the same. Yeah. It's me that changed. Like, the day I left for basic is the day that my whole lifestyle changed, my mindset changed. So I was like, yeah, I thought he was kind of crazy when he said I changed, but looking back, I'm like, he's right. Everyone's pretty much doing the same thing, and I had to go through something a little different. So
exactly. I really appreciate what you said there too. It's like you said, having a deadline, having someone to push you is great, but you also have to set those goals for yourself. Like, it has to be an individual thing. Like, your friends can help get you in the door, but over the time it has to be your habits that kind of build you up and lead you into having success in that area.
Yeah. Because even awesome. even me being there as, like, you know, as, like, a personal trainer, first form, like, helping them with that, like, I could give them all the tools they need. Like, I could give them workouts, I could give them stuff like that to use, but it's only tools. Like, they have to use the tools to be where they want to be.
Exactly.
Like, I can't push them every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
I can do so much.
Yeah, that's incredible. I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today. This is awesome. It's so cool being able to talk to such, like, a high caliber of an athlete and a person who's truly, like, maxing out their life. So I just want to give you just a second to tell people where they can find you on social media so that they can, like, be inspired by you and, like, see what you're doing with your life.
Oh yeah, so on Instagram it's at Vida_betterkind21.
Perfect. So make sure you go check her out, and then First Form stuff, I know that they can use your products.
Yeah, so
as well too.
If they use the link on my bio, they'll get free shipping on all products, and it's great because if, like, for whatever reason you don't like it, like, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, there's 110% money back guarantee. So there's awesome. But I have had a lot of stuff in there. I've loved everything so far.
That's
down from, like, the pre-workout, creatine, protein, their meal replacement, like, and any questions they have, they could come ask me, and I'll be happy to help.
That's awesome. So everyone, go check her page out. Thank you again for coming on today. People are going to be motivated you. I know I was today. So keep on doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see how many competitions you'll win in the next few years. So
thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much.